Ever wondered why Groundhog Day is celebrated? This unique tradition, predominantly observed in the United States and Canada, has a story as intriguing as its name. Groundhog Day falls on the second day of February each year, a date that holds a special place in the hearts of many. The star of this celebration is a furry little creature named Punxsutawney Phil. Yes, you heard that right. A groundhog named Punxsutawney Phil is at the center of this fascinating event. Now you might be thinking, why a groundhog? After all, it's not every day that a small mammal gets to play such a significant role in a widely celebrated tradition. But that's the beauty of Groundhog Day. It's a day that combines folklore, weather prediction, and a healthy dose of whimsy, all wrapped up in one charming tradition. But why a groundhog, you might ask? Groundhog Day has its roots in an old German superstition. In the heart of winter, the Germans would keep an eye on the hedgehog. If this little creature saw its shadow, it was taken as a sign of 6 more weeks of harsh winter. If not, an early spring was anticipated. As waves of German immigrants made their way to America, they brought along this quirky tradition. However, in their new homeland, hedgehogs were a rarity. But the groundhog, a burrowing rodent native to the region, was a perfect stand-in. The first official Groundhog Day was celebrated in Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania, in 1887. The tradition was started by a group of groundhog hunters, known as the Punxsutawney Groundhog Club. Their leader, a newspaper editor, proclaimed Punxsutawney Phil, the local groundhog, as the official weather forecasting rodent. So the groundhog took the hedgehog's place in this unique tradition. Now what does it mean if Phil sees his shadow? Well, according to folklore, if the groundhog sees his shadow and scurries back into its burrow, brace yourselves for 6 more weeks of winter. The shadow you see is taken as an ominous sign of continuing cold. But if our furry friend doesn't see his shadow, rejoice. Spring is just around the corner. This charming tradition has found its way into modern Groundhog Day celebrations. Every February 2nd, all eyes are on Phil, the Punxsutawney groundhog. The suspense builds as we wait to see whether he will cast a shadow or not. It's a fun, quirky way we humans have of trying to predict the weather, and even though it's not scientifically accurate, it brings us together in shared hope and anticipation. And that, my friends, is the mystery of the groundhog shadow. How do we celebrate Groundhog Day today? Well, it's a grand affair, especially in Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania. Every year, tens of thousands gather at Gobbler's Knob, a wooded hill just outside of town, braving the winter chill to witness the famous groundhog Punxsutawney Phil predict the weather. It's a day filled with music, food, and a lot of groundhog-themed fun. But the celebration isn't confined to Punxsutawney. Groundhog Day events are held across North America, each with their own furry prognosticator. From General Beauregard Lee in Georgia to Weirton Willie in Ontario, groundhogs have their day in the limelight. And let's not forget the widespread recognition of Groundhog Day in popular culture. The movie Groundhog Day, for instance, has made the day synonymous with the idea of being stuck in a time loop, adding another layer to the celebration. From a simple superstition, Groundhog Day has certainly come a long way. So next time February 2nd rolls around, take a moment to pause. Consider the rich tapestry of tradition and folklore that is Groundhog Day. This isn't just about a small rodent predicting the weather, but about the passing of seasons, the rhythm of life itself. It's about our shared history, our collective longing for the end of winter, and the arrival of spring. Imagine how the early settlers must have felt in the harsh winter, looking for any sign of spring's return. Now picture the excitement, the suspense as the groundhog emerges from its burrow. Will it see its shadow or not? Perhaps you might want to join the millions who tune in to watch this event, live or online. Experience the anticipation, the collective breath held in suspense, the cheers or groans at the outcome. And remember, whether the groundhog sees its shadow or not, spring is always just around the corner.